Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is March 29th, 2023, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the Dow Jones futures point higher this morning. But first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we're watching the US dollar gain versus the Japanese yen. And as we look at the indices, the NASDAQ rebounding after a sell-off, and we're watching that Dow Jones point higher this morning. Now looking at commodities, gold tapering off, while oil remaining strong and hitting $73 a barrel. Now looking at the stocks, it was mostly mixed as some tech stocks sold off and then rebounded, and some of the other conglomerates kind of stayed strong, and that's why the Dow Jones stayed strong. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin still consolidating in that very tight range. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the Japanese yen first. As you can see, we're seeing it kind of bounce back. Okay, it consolidated, first hitting that 129 level, which was a nice breach from 130, and then making a support level at that 130 and then taking it up higher. Now we are, all intents and purposes, still in resistance-ish area, but it does look like it's pushing higher. And at this range, okay, it may still see itself recoil here and correct itself, but okay, keep an eye on it because there is increased volume here. So I would state it to say that we would even hit 132. So keep that in mind as we're still trading this later today and see if it does push higher. Now looking at the Euro USD, this is really a, just trading in a range right now. Okay, I mean, we hit that 110, 107-ish level, and we're just there in the middle right now. So not much really to give us some direction of which way the market's going to go right now. GBPUSD climbing higher to that resistance-ish level, but tapering off and not giving a clear indication which way it's going to go from here. So just keep that in mind as well. Now, as we jump into commodities, gold selling off here a little bit to 1962, but all intents and purposes, really not doing much, just tapering off and, just consolidating between that 2000-ish level of 1950, and we're right there smack in the middle of it. So not much to give us headway into some future trading opportunities, at least for now. Now jumping into crude oil, we're trading at 73.76, a nice little push, and it's getting closer to that 30-day moving average, which we've been trading below. Okay, use that 8-day moving average as a support, and now will it use that 30-day moving average as a resistance? Check that out. Keep that in mind because that's how usually these stocks or these commodities play. So keep an eye on this as this continues to trade later today. This will be interesting. Now jumping into the U.S. markets, Dow Jones gained this morning. Nice activity this morning as it's pushing higher. It didn't sell off like the NASDAQ did. So keep that in mind because when we saw that correction, the move in the NASDAQ, we didn't see it in the Dow Jones. So that means the Dow Jones stocks that are listing on the Dow Jones, which is the old school kind of stocks, the banks, the conglomerates, the oil companies, they're okay. They're not selling off. So keep that in mind as we're at that resistance. If we pop above 32,800, we could see ourselves up at 33,400. That's the next resistance. So keep that in mind as this may still have some upwards momentum. Now, next month, we're going to corporate earnings session. So we may have a rally up to that, as we go into that number. Now, jumping into the NASDAQ, okay, where we did sell off here yesterday and the previous day, okay, from 12,900-ish level down to 12,600-ish level. So that's a decent move on the downside, but now we're at 50% of that, which is natural. Okay, that's where we'd like to be. We'd like to be somewhere, as it's rebounding. Now, if we look at the particular stocks, Microsoft, you could see rebounded itself. I mean, you could see that hammer, okay, which is really a rebound kind of formation. If we look at Facebook, also a hammer, okay, on a daily chart. So, the stocks are still strong, okay? There is a little bit of a sell-off, but they're still ultimately still strong. The question is, how much further are they going to extend these rallies on the upside? Now, if we look at Apple, also, it had a hammer formation also. It sold off quite aggressively. What I'd like to see is an upwards momentum in this market that will seem to imply, at least for the short term, that it's still kind of like strong as it's been until now. Now jumping into kind of the old school kind of stocks, the JP Morgan, you see that we are rebounding here, and JP Morgan has a very big earning call next month, so this is, you know, still has some room to correct itself on the upside. Now lastly, taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin sold off this morning to 27,000. It's up 27,500. Just trading and consolidating between that area. Not an easy trade, okay? So just be aware of it. Hands off for now. So it's either going to break above 29, or if it's going to break below 27, then it becomes interesting. Right now, it's just really churning. So it's hard to really understand which way it's going to go. So keep that in mind as we're trading this today. This is Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.